Coming up on the W Show, it's official. This year's AFLW Grand Final will be held under lights. Plus, the race for this year's flag is down to 8. We unpack 4 mouth-watering finals, including a case of Master v Apprentice. Melbourne Premiership player Lily Mithen has been there and done it all before. She joins us live in the studio. This is the W Show, thanks to NAB. It certainly is, and it's great to have your company on the W Show. Thanks to NAB, Sarah Ollie in the host chair. And as I welcome in award-winning journalist Sarah Black. Sarah, we are down to the business end of the season. 8 teams vying for that premiership glory.
It almost all starts again here,
It does.
Sarah. It's going to be really exciting next month of footy. 8 teams in it. Who's going to be the last one standing?
Well, I'll tell you a team that isn't there, which is very strange, is Melbourne. But that means we have D's Premiership star Lily Mithen all to ourselves to unpack those 4 mouth-watering finals. Sorry, Lil, a bit of a drive-by to begin with, but welcome to the W Show.
No, thank you for having me. It's good to be here. And as you say, I would prefer to be going to training probably this afternoon, but instead I'm here with Sarah Squared, so good to be here.
We will get to those 4 finals in a little bit, but let's get to the news of the week. And some massive news dropping yesterday that for the very first time, the NAB AFLW Grand Final will be held under lights. Now, Sarah, this confirms a report from Riley Beveridge on afl.com.au. This is exciting. I like that they're changing it up a little bit and trying something new.
This is the beauty of AFLW, is that we don't yet have these traditions baked in, to use a phrase that Emma's really fond of. So, why not set the tone from here on in that we're going to have a night grand final under lights. We've seen it sort of in the men's a little bit with those COVID grand finals, but why not try something new with the girls?
As a player, Lil, do you like it? What are your initial thoughts?
I don't think I would personally love it just because the nerves would get me all day long. You're sitting around just being like, let's play. And I think as a traditionalist, a little bit, I think I'd prefer a daytime, but I think it's going to be really exciting to see. As you say, why not try and see what comes of it? I think commercial reasons potentially for a headline act, we don't know. Maybe it could be a real sort of star-dropping night. I don't know. Who knows?
Well, let's hear from Emma Moore and Laura Kane yesterday confirming the news.
I also want to make an extraordinarily exciting announcement as well, which is that for the first time in the AFLW history, the 2024 NAB AFLW Grand Final will be played under lights in a primetime evening slots.
I think having the biggest match of women's football this year broadcast on Channel 7 in prime time, television time slots is incredibly exciting for all of us.
So we're hearing the commercial benefits there, and I can't disagree with either Laura or Emma, but what we do know is that a big base of the supporters and the people that are going to tune into this grand final are families. Do we think that affects them a little bit, Sarah?
Yes and no. Maybe in terms of the the actual attendance at the ground. Maybe if you've got some littlies, it may not be ideal. But in terms of the broadcast, you're probably more likely to reach a wider range of people sitting down on the couch, having their dinner, who may not have tuned into AFLW before. So I can see why they've done it in terms of the broadcast numbers. The fan attendance is a different matter.
All right, when it comes to the Bombers, they are through to finals for the 2nd season in a row, but unfortunately, they're going to have to get the job done against Fremantle without their skipper in Bonnie Toogood. And Sarah, unfortunately, this has been the narrative, hasn't it, for Bonnie this season? Earlier in the year, it was the knee and now the ankle. It's really disappointing.
It's been a shocking season for Bon. Coming off a career best season too last year, she was vice-captain for the All-Australian side and such an integral piece of that Bombers outfit. They've ruled her out of finals completely. They did so on Monday morning, which was very much appreciated. Just put that speculation out there. The Bombers have played without her for a big chunk of this season though. So, if you rewind 10 months and go no Bonnie, that'd be no Bombers. Not necessarily the case this time around, I reckon, Lil.
Yeah, I think that's a really important part of the Bombers' chance of having a really successful finals campaign is that they have been able to play and plan without Bonnie. Obviously a terrible loss and really hard to lose and go without their leader and their best player, arguably. So it will be a challenge, but it's, as you say, a good thing that they've had to play without her and plan for that earlier this year.
Now, I think we can all agree that injuries, they are part and parcel of footy. It's something that we just have to expect. But something that we don't stand for and we don't expect at a game is crowd abuse. And I refer to a story broken by Gemma Bastiani on AFL.com.au and an incident at RSEA Park involving a spectator hurling abuse at Dakota Davidson. As it says there, the AFL Integrity Unit is investigating this incident. But Lil, as a player, how disappointing is this that we find ourselves in this situation yet again?
Oh, it's just terrible. I feel so bad for Dakota, as well as her teammates who have had to console them and look after them through a really traumatic time. As you say, it's just, we should not be standing for this. And how many times does it have to be the AFL Integrity Unit stepping in once again to deal with crowd behaviour or people who don't come with the mindset of loving the game for what it is and coming with a lens of respecting what our players can do and our game can withhold. So I think it's really disappointing, and I think as a AFL community it's great to see that everyone is wrapping their arms around Dakota and the Lions, and yeah, it is just terrible that they've had to endure this sort of abuse. And yeah, once again we're having this conversation that fans are being ejected from games from poor behaviour. It's not something that we as players sign up for, and disappointing to see once again. But great to see the AFL and I'm sure the club stepping in to support Dakota and their teammates.
The AFLW is so much richer for having Dakota Davidson as part of it. She's just one of the best characters this game has. She's such a strong mark, a big kick. The kids absolutely adore her. So it's so disappointing that this, you know, she's spoken in the past about how abuse around her appearance has, you know, been so upsetting for her, completely understandably. And for this to happen again is so disappointing. As I said, we just love Dakota so much and what she brings to the game. So hopefully, you know, it's a bigger and better final series ahead for Dax.
Well said to both of you. And before we get to the finals, let's have a look at how the ladder sits at this point in time. Of course, those first 8 sides all qualifying for finals. Now the Pies, they finish with the wooden spoon. It means they get that number 1 pick, which is more coveted than ever because the draft is going national this year. Lil, there's your side in 9th. It's kind of weird for you. I feel like you play finals every year. Can you put your finger on just what went wrong with the Ds this year?
It is very weird, as you say, to see our D's team sitting at number 9 this season, but I'm not sure. I think we really struggled early on with some key injuries to our side and had to really adjust our game plan to play a team that was, I guess, meant the side that we were playing out could really adjust to that and play good footy and win games of footy. And I think unfortunately the season just wasn't long enough for them to hit our straps and play a new brand with new personnel, and because we were humming there for a bit. The condensed fixture did us well. We were winning games and we beat Adelaide, and it was like, oh, here we go, let's keep this momentum going. And that loss against Hawthorn, that really sort of stung and hurt our chances. But it was really nice to go out on a really good win and a really good note. Up against the Pies in that last round, but a funny few hours after that following to figure out what our fate was. So not the season that we would have hoped, but nice to, I guess, hold our heads high after what was quite a tricky season to navigate that had sort of all little different challenges.
Do you feel, Lil, like this season might be a case of one step back for 2 steps forward? You know, we saw likes of Georgia Gall and Georgia Campbell entrusted with so much more responsibility than they have in the past, and really start to grow and blossom into strong AFLW performers.
Absolutely, and I think it was 10 new players that we brought onto our list this season, so it was always going to be a challenge to merge and find our new game style and our new identity as a team, albeit build on what we've done in previous years. But the likes of Georgia Gall, so good, Georgia Campbell, awesome in terms of growth, and then we uncovered the likes of Riley Witherspoon, who was amazing, who we picked up from the draft, Alyssa Pisano, who you saw her speed and skill and poise on show. So we've been able to get some quality minutes and games into plays like this, and there's going to be plenty of development to come off the back of it. Unfortunately, that didn't mean this year was our year, but again, I think there's plenty to build off, and we're in an exciting position. Whilst we didn't make it, we've had plenty of growth to come.
All right, guys, it all comes down to this. We've got 4 weeks of footy left to go and 9 games. So this is how the finals bracket is shaping up. As you can see, 2 qualifying finals. So the winner of North and Adelaide, then the winner of Hawthorn and Brisbane, they will go straight through to a home preliminary final. And then the other 2, they're elimination finals. So as the name suggests, the loser goes home packing. The winner, they will go through to the semi-finals and meet the losers of the qualifying finals. So some mouth-watering matches are coming our way, guys. So let's kick things off because it all kicks off on Friday night at Icon Park. It is the minor premiers, North Melbourne, taking on the Adelaide Crows. Now, Sarah, we don't have to look too far in that rear vision mirror to see the last time they featured. It was just 2 weeks ago at Norwood Oval. The Kangaroos getting up by 8 points. And unfortunately, we've been banging on about it, but it's the Crows and their kicking efficiency. It let them down once again.
It's a common theme, and it's not necessarily their kicking efficiency further afield. They've been so good at getting the ball inside 50. It's just that those little mental demons are creeping in when they're kicking in front of goal, and it's from some of their stars too. Caitlin Gould, Danielle Ponta, Chelsea Randall have all struggled to convert. The good news is that if they do convert, like, you know, the world's their oyster, they'll be fine. But, you know, just got to get over that little voice in their heads.
Well, you mentioned Caitlin Gould, and this was her after the side's latest win against Geelong. She was a star that day, but she kicked 3 goals 3, and she said her side, the Crows, really need to tighten up when it comes to that last important kick.
Absolutely an area that we need to keep working on. I think it's just that composure piece that, we're still trying to get there, including myself. So, it's definitely something that we need to continue growing in that space, and hopefully, through finals, we kind of get that together.
Caitlin Gould there. Now, Sarah, you have been down at Arden Street this week, having a bit of a peek around, and you noticed something at training that the Roos were doing when it comes to getting out the back and really maximising space. Tell us a little more.
Yeah, so this has been a hallmark of North Melbourne's game style all season. We saw it on show in round 1 against the Brisbane Lions. We're calling it hopping the wall. A little bit of a kangaroo pun there. And, you know, considering the speed of some of their players, Alice O'Loughlin, Bella Eddy and Jenna Bruton, look at all that space out there. As soon as they get over that defensive wall that the Crows have built, they have got acres of room. And Lil, as an opposition player, you've come up against North Melbourne so many times. So if we roll this vision, you'll see ahead just what's to come. But, you know, when you're in that position as an opposition player, North Melbourne have acres of space. What's going through your head? Oh,
well, it's just so difficult to stop when there's so much space and they've got power stars across all lines of the ground. If it is the likes of Bella Eddy or Jenna Bruton and Alice O'Loughlin, who have serious wheels, if it's not them, it's otherwise their hard-working mids who are working into that space and getting you out the back. As you can see, they get such deep entries, which mean better shots at goal. And it's just so difficult to stop. And as an opposition player, you're thinking, oh no, they're going to get another one on us. And they, unlike Adelaide, they finish in front of goal and they're a real threat.
So this was something they were practicing heavily at training on Wednesday. I was also keeping a close eye on Emma Carney, the skipper, who was listed as a test this week. I'm not sure that she's going to play. She only sort of did about half a session. So it may have been just, you know, putting a little bit of doubt in Adelaide's mind as to whether she's going to field up.
The mind games are well and truly begun. But let's move to Saturday and to Fremantle Oval because it's Fremantle taking on Essendon. This one is an elimination final, so it is do or die footy. Now, so we have to go back to round 1 for when these two sides last met. This was a weird game at Windy Hill, wasn't it? Because Fremantle really pantsed Essendon, but there was an incident early in the game which somewhat justified the result.
Yeah, so this was quite a close affair until that incident we see there. Amber Clark running back with the flight has collected Bonnie Toogood. This was a shocker, one of those ones that make everyone just stop and freeze. And, you know, the Bombers have spoken publicly about that since, the players saying that they were really rattled by it. And they weren't able to steady themselves and stabilise the game. Fremantle went down the other end. They were just kicking goals left, right and centre. Anya Tai was really big in that game. She's not going to be playing on the weekend. So there's a few continuing storylines from this. I'm curious to see how the two sides match up without a traumatic incident there to unsettle things.
And another storyline, of course, is that Bombers, they don't have Steph Wales, their recognised ruck. And unfortunately, they are coming up the against the inform ruck of the competition in Mim Strong. So she is our star power thanks to Nab. I mean, give her the All-Australian jumper already because she is absolutely flying. Look at those stats there, Lil. You've played against her this year. What's it like coming up against someone who is so powerful in the air but then so agile at ground level?
That is the thing, it's her agility at ground level and the way she moves around the ground. It's like she's an inside mid. She works so hard, she uses the footy really well, but then also gets in the position at the right time to take those contested grabs at times to, I guess, sort of play offense off the back of her. She's the one always intercepting or creating those offensive change, given how agile she is and how well she moves. She's a serious threat, and you only have to look as far as her stats last week to go, oh my goodness, she is a serious player and could be the best player in the competition given her versatility.
So the Bombers, of course, will be without Steph Wales, who has done that ACL.
Yeah.
So in her place, the Bombers, they've been fielding Matilda Dyke, who's nominally a winger. So it's a fair task. At least she'll have the tank to run with Strom, but it'll be a fair task around the ground.
Now you're watching Emma Carney when it comes to the Roos. We've also got to watch, though, on Ash Brazel, who provides so much run for the Dockers off half-backs there.
Yeah, she's been a huge pickup this year for the Bombers, for the Dockers. It's amazing what a season without netball can do for Ash. She has been fresh as daisy until this little ankle tweak. Lisa Webb seems pretty confident that she'll be right to go, but you know, these line-breaking players, they aren't dime a dozen, Lil, and she can provide so much grunt and power off that back line.
I love the way she plays. As you said, she breaks lines and she's so skillful. She had an amazing career at Collingwood and I think is just really flourishing in with the family
in
the purple. But as you say, like it's potentially, I feel like in the AFL men's, it was a thing to go up to Brisbane and be in the warmer climate, and potentially that's what's happening over there with her body. She's just absolutely loving it and playing such good footy. Hopefully she plays for the Dockers' sake because she is an integral part of their offensive plays and the way that she holds up steady down back.
Let's get to Sunday's doubleheader, and we begin at Icon Park. It is Hawthorn taking on the Brisbane Lions, and we are billing this one as Master v Apprentice because Craig Starcevich is coming up against Daniel Webster, and of course Daniel Webster there is coming under the stewardship. Well, he was there at Brisbane for such a long time under Craig Starcevich. You can see there he's got a bit of games, a bit of premierships to make up, but this is going to be a mouth-watering clash, isn't it?
Yeah, so this is AFLW experience. Dan Webster's also been a senior coach at quaffle level within men's side, so you know there's a few more runs in the bank there than we're showing in terms of AFLW. I do love this storyline developing, and I love how it's indicative of how the AFLW has evolved. There's like IQ there, footy IQ there, that's beginning to be passed down. We've seen the Clarko tree in the men's footy, and how many senior coaches have stemmed from being under Clarko's stewardship. I know Brisbane were pretty annoyed to lose him at the same time as, it's great that he's got his opportunity, but there goes a really talented assistant coach. So there's obviously been a lot of crossover in terms of players too between Brisbane and Hawthorn, so I can't wait to watch this one.
Well, let's hear from the horse's mouth, Craig Starcevich and Daniel Webster.
I know how he thinks, he knows how I think. It's going to be entertaining footy, that's for sure. It's fantastic. It's great to see him. He's a high quality coach. He's spent many years in the quaffle honing his craft, and now he gets the chance in this competition with his own team, doing a great job.
Like on the journey we're on, like we want to play against the best teams, and Brisbane are clearly one of the best teams in the competition, and that's where we want to be. Like we want to be playing these games. So yeah, it'd be just super exciting on so many levels, and good to actually catch up with everyone as well, which would be nice.
And if you want to see those full interviews, they are on afl.com.au. Get your popcorn out. It's going to be an absolute cracker on Sunday. And as we head to the deep dive, Lily has made her way over to join Gemma at the wall. Gem, Belle Dawes is in focus, and we think this might have a bit of a master apprentice feel too.
We all know that Brisbane's midfield group is amazing. You've had to play against them a few times, Lily.
I have.
Ali Anderson is a key anchor, but Belle Dawes is the one that could unlock everything for them, and it's off her work rate, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. She's in career best form. She's an absolute firecracker. I hate playing against her, but I love watching her play. As you can see here, career best averages across everything except tackles, but she's always been a tackling machine, so we'll let her off the hook for that one. 19.5 disposals, 3.5 inside 50s, combined with 4 score involvements. That is huge from an inside mid. She's added her game so many different layers. That creative offensive flair is second to none, and she is absolutely taking the competition by storm.
And she works and she works and she works. And we've got some vision of the way she actually makes space for herself at stoppage. So here, she comes into stoppage, realises she's not needed, comes back out, and then it's here that she loses her opponent in Charlotte Simpson. So then when the ball actually gets into a scramble, she's in space on her own, gets the ball forward. How hard is it, or how important is it to create space as a midfielder?
Yeah, well, as we know she's such a contested ball, but it's those footy IQ decisions that she's making that's allowing for those score involvements, the creativity, that offensive flair that she's bringing to the team is created by those decisions to hold out and actually use the footy with care.
And then she just sets up scores as well, and nearly breaks Sophie Conway's teeth in the process of celebrating this goal. But it's her ability to get involved in scores this year that's really gone up a notch. Not just kicking her own goals, they hit their mouths there, but also actually getting involved in setting up teammate scores. But the way she does a lot of this is getting on the move at stoppage. How hard is it, as we see some of the examples here, to defend someone that's always on the move at stoppage?
It's an opposition nightmare. I absolutely hate it. It's something that the likes of Mon Conti does, Ed Marinoff does, and we know that they are elite players in our competition. So, as you can see here, she's just taking the game, she's just taking it into her own hands. Look at her go. She's 1-2, she's getting the footy back. Here, I think she gets it back 3 times, and breaking lines is so hard to defend. It's really hard to come forward when players are going at so much speed, and then she's just creating so much space. This ball ends up getting out the back to herself off the back of the hard work that you said. So she is a workhorse, and I'm sure a teammate that the Brisbane girls absolutely love playing with.
Hard work and power. She could just be the reason that Brisbane gets over Hawthorn on Sunday. That game's going to be a blockbuster. Make sure you're watching it.
Couldn't agree with you more, Jem. Thanks to Jem and Lil there. And Sarah, as we wait for Lil to get back, let's get to our final. This one between Port Adelaide and Richmond. Now, you go back to week 5, the last time they played. The Tigers, they got up. But since then, Port have been on a tear. They haven't lost a match.
Yes, this is really interesting. It's just sort of that was always the line in the sand for the Power. They haven't looked back since that point. So, they've improved heaps, and whether they've been able to now, it's almost like the big test. Can they reapply all that knowledge and development that they've shown over the past 6 weeks up against that opponent who, let's be fair, Richmond won quite comfortably in that game.
Now, they are going to get some big names back, though, Port Adelaide, aren't they? So who are the stars we expect to come in?
Yes, so the Power played GWS last week. I think they expected this game to go a little bit smoother than it did. It needed a Gemma Houghton match winner to get over the line, and they chose to rest Abby Dowrick, who was out with general soreness, which I love, and Matilda Scholes with a minor calf injury. So these two are expected to play. That's your premier ruck and your ruck rover, Lil, and that changes the face of a team, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It doesn't take much to really boost a team's energy and then skill base too. So 2 massive ins, which of course are appreciated upon an elimination final. So big win, and hopefully they can, also deal with the pressure of what a first final is going to hold.
Now, you mentioned the first final. We might debunk a little myth here when it comes to finals experience, because on paper you're going, well, Richmond have been there before. They must be more experienced. But you look at the average ages, the experience, and then the Premiership players. In fact, Port Adelaide have far more experience in that department, Sarah. So should we really be talking up Richmond's experience all that much?
It's the Adelaide effect there. There's a couple of senior heads, as well as Kirsty Lamb and Mon Conti for Richmond, who played for the Western Bulldogs back in 2018 in that grand final. The Tigers have only played finals once. That was in season 7 of 2022. They've played 2 finals, crashed out. They ran into Brisbane and North Melbourne,
Unlucky.
which is that's tough. But the Tigers feel a bit more composed in how they go about their game. They've got some bigger bodies in that midfield, Ellie McKenzie, Ailish Sheeran and the like, that I think, come finals, it's all about that contested footy. So my tip is the Tigers, but I'm looking forward to a rocking Alberton crowd.
It'll be fun. Lil, can you remember your first finals? I mean, it would have been years and years ago now because you're such a veteran in that department, but do the nerves really kick in?
Yeah, I was really just thinking, what was the first final? I can't actually remember what the first one is.
2019, maybe 2019?
Potentially. Anyway, I'll think about that. It would be in a journal somewhere. I would have documented all the feelings. But Oh, it is so nerve-wracking. It's, I think, what you set out to do at the start of pre-season, if not before, chasing a chance and chasing an opportunity. So for people who haven't played in a final, it is really nerve-wracking, and you want to make the most of that opportunity. Otherwise, it really does feel like an opportunity wasted. So there will be plenty of nerves, and a lot of the time it's who can settle first is often the beneficiary on the day. But it's so exciting. I absolutely love finals footy, so I'll be envious watching from the sidelines this year. But nonetheless, I'm sure there's going to be some amazing footy played.
So 4 weeks, 9 games to go. I want a tip from you both. Who's taking out the flag this year, Sarah?
This wasn't on the run sheet.
I don't care,
No,
Sarah.
you've gone rogue with this one.
If you had to put it on the line, who do you think?
It's hard to go past North Melbourne.
Yeah.
Adelaide were my pre-season pick, and they still could come good. But yeah, hard to go past the
Lil?
Blues.
North Melbourne are the best informed team. They haven't lost a game. But does that also add to the mindset of what's going to happen? Ooh. And I think if anyone's going to beat them, it would be Brisbane.
All right, Sarah, Lil, thanks for your time on the W Show.
Thank you, Sarah.
And guys, thank you for joining us on the W Show. Thanks to NAB. Plenty of footy coming your way. Enjoy it, and we'll see you next week.
Join me, Sarah Hosking, and me, Sarah Rowe, as we take a look at life on and off the footy field. Tagged every Tuesday on afl.com.au/AFLW or wherever you get your podcasts.